5 years ago, on a crisp autumn evening, the small coastal town of Seabrook was rocked by one of the most baffling mysteries it had ever seen. A young, engaged couple, Sarah and Jake Thompson, vanished without a trace from their rented beach house just days before they were set to tie the knot. The last anyone saw of them was when they strolled hand in hand along the shoreline as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. No one could have guessed that this seemingly perfect moment would be the final chapter anyone witnessed in their lives. So everyone thought, until now. The story begins not with an answer, but with another question. One that has haunted locals and investigators alike for half a decade. What really happened to Sarah and Jake? Their disappearance became the stuff of whispered legends around campfires and late-night diner conversations. Some believed they ran away together to escape mounting wedding stress. Others whispered about darker possibilities, like foul play or some tragic accident at sea. But no evidence surfaced, no bodies, no signs of struggle, nothing. It was as if the ocean itself had swallowed them whole. That is, until recently, when a diver exploring a coral reef miles offshore made a chilling discovery wedged between jagged rocks deep underwater. Sarah and Jake weren't just any couple. They were the kind who seemed destined for greatness. Sarah, a talented graphic designer known for her warm smile and boundless creativity, balanced Jake's steady, adventurous spirit. He worked as an environmental scientist, always eager to explore nature's wonders while advocating for its preservation. Together, they radiated a love so palpable it felt almost tangible. Friends often joked that their relationship gave off movie vibes, romantic, effortless, enviable. They embodied the dream many aspire to but few achieve. And yet, their fairy tale ended abruptly, leaving behind more questions than answers. Who were these two people whose lives intersected fatefully on that stretch of coastline? What secrets might they have carried into the waves? As news of the mysterious find spread through Seabrook, old wounds reopened. For Sarah's mother, Linda, the pain never truly faded. Every year, on what would have been her daughter's wedding day, she lit a candle by the window overlooking the beach, hoping against hope that someday she'd get closure. Jake's best friend, Ryan, still replayed memories of their last fishing trip together, wondering if he'd missed something, a clue, a sign that could have changed everything. Even strangers in town couldn't help but speculate. Had justice been denied? Was there someone out there who knew more than they let on? The diver's discovery reignited all those emotions, bringing fresh urgency to uncovering the truth. What exactly did the diver find? Details remain scarce, but initial reports suggest it's an object tied directly to Sarah and Jacob. Personal belonging, perhaps, or something even stranger. Whatever it is, it's clear it didn't end up in the reef by chance. Its placement hints at intentionality, raising unsettling possibilities. Could it be a message left deliberately, or simply debris caught in the tides over time? Authorities are tight-lipped, fueling speculation and paranoia among residents. Social media buzzes with theories ranging from plausible to outlandish, each post amplifying the sense of unease gripping the community once again. This isn't just a story about missing persons. It's a story about loss, longing, and the human need to understand the incomprehensible. It's about how tragedy ripples outward, touching lives far beyond those immediately involved. In Seabrook, where life revolves around the ebb and flow of the tide, the ocean holds both beauty and danger in equal measure. To some, it offers solace. To others, it represents uncertainty and fear. For Sarah and Jake's loved ones, it has become a symbol of unanswered prayers and sleepless nights spent staring at the water, willing it to give back what it took. The tone of this unfolding drama shifts constantly from grief-stricken sorrow to cautious optimism, from quiet reflection to feverish curiosity. Each new detail unearthed brings a mix of relief and dread. Relief because progress, however small, feels like movement toward resolution. Dread because every step forward risks revealing truths too painful to bear. This duality defines the emotional, the landscape of the search for Sarah and Jake. It's not merely about finding them. It's about piecing together fragments of a puzzle that may never fully come together at its core. This story grapples with universal themes: love, mystery, resilience, and the fragility of human existence. Love, because Sarah and Jake's bond remains central to the narrative, a beacon guiding those seeking answers. Mystery, because despite advances in technology and investigative techniques, some things defy explanation. Resilience, because even after 5 long years, people refuse to let go of hope. And fragility, because one misstep, one wrong turn, or cruel twist of fate can alter destinies forever. While much remains unknown, certain facts anchor the investigation. The beach house where Sarah and Jake stayed sits perched on a bluff overlooking the Atlantic, isolated yet breathtakingly beautiful. Neighbors recall hearing laughter echoing from inside during their stay, interspersed with moments of quiet conversation. On the night they disappeared, weather conditions were calm, ruling out storms or rough seas as contributing factors. Surveillance footage from nearby businesses showed nothing unusual, offering little insight into their final hours. Yet somehow, somewhere between dinner plates cleared and dawn breaking, reality fractured. For investigators, the case presents countless challenges. Without physical evidence or eyewitness accounts, reconstructing events becomes nearly impossible. Leads dry up quickly, replaced by dead ends and false starts. Over time, resources dwindle, priorities shift, and public interest wanes. Still, dedicated detectives refuse to close the file, driven by a stubborn determination to solve the unsolvable. Now, with the diver's discovery injecting renewed energy into the case, law enforcement scrambles to piece together connections between past and present. Will this latest development finally unlock the secrets buried beneath the waves? As word spreads, reporters descend upon Seabrook, cameras rolling and microphones thrust toward grieving families and bewildered friends. Locals brace themselves for the onslaught, knowing full well how media attention can distort facts and exploit vulnerabilities. Privacy evaporates overnight, replaced by relentless scrutiny. For some, it's a necessary evil, a means to keep the spotlight trained on the case until justice prevails. For others, it's an invasion, a reminder of wounds that refuse to heal. Amidst the chaos, one thing becomes clear: the search for Sarah and Jake transcends individual lives, becoming a shared mission uniting an entire community under the weight of unanswered questions. Back at the heart of it all lies the diver's enigmatic find. Described vaguely as something significant by authorities, it tantalizes with promise, yet frustrates with ambiguity. Early examinations hint at craftsmanship, a deliberate act rather than random coincidence. Could it be a keepsake meant to endure the test of time? A relic of happier days washed ashore only to resurface years later? Or does it hold darker implications, pointing toward motives and actions better left concealed? Until official statements clarify matters, imagination runs wild, fueled by equal parts hope and dread. In the meantime, Sarah and Jake's story continues to unfold, not just for those directly affected, but for anyone drawn to tales of love lost and found again. It reminds us of our own vulnerabilities, our capacity for empathy, and our unyielding desire to make sense of the inexplicable. Whether viewed through the lens of romance, suspense, or tragedy, their journey resonates deeply, urging us to pay attention, to care, to remember. Because sometimes, stories like theirs aren't just about what happened there, about what could happen next. And so, we wait. We watch. We wonder. As divers retrieve additional artifacts from the reef and forensic teams analyze every scrap of information, anticipation builds. Will this be the breakthrough everyone has prayed for? Or will it deepen the mystery further, casting longer shadows over already murky waters? One thing is certain. Whatever comes next will leave an indelible mark on Seabrook and on anyone brave enough to follow along. Stay tuned, because the next chapter promises answers, or maybe just more questions. To truly understand the weight of what's unfolding now, we need to go back to the days leading up to Sarah and Jake's disappearance. Those final hours were filled with moments that seemed ordinary at the time, but have since taken on a haunting significance. Neighbors remember seeing them unloading groceries from their car, laughing as they juggled bags while trying not to drop anything. The couple had spent weeks planning this getaway, a last hurrah before the whirlwind of wedding preparations consumed them entirely. It was supposed to be peaceful, intimate, a chance to reconnect before diving headfirst into married life. But peace isn't always what it seems. Beneath the surface, cracks were forming. Friends close to Sarah confided later that she'd been unusually quiet in the weeks prior, her usual spark dimmed by something no one could quite put their finger on. Was it cold feet? Stress over the wedding? Or something deeper, darker? Jake, too, carried his own burdens. His job often kept him away for long stretches, and though he loved Sarah fiercely, there were whispers among colleagues about missed deadlines and strained relationships at work. None of it added up to anything concrete, but hindsight paints these fragments in shades of foreboding. The beach house itself became another character in the story, its creaky floors and panoramic windows overlooking the restless sea. Locals called it the glass nest because of how sunlight poured through its walls during the day, making it feel like a cocoon of warmth and safety. But at night, when the tide rolled in and the wind picked up, it transformed into something else entirely, isolated, vulnerable, almost alive. Some said you could hear voices in the waves if you listened closely enough. Others swore the place felt haunted, though they laughed it off as superstition. Now, those same people wonder if maybe there was truth to the rumors after all. As investigators dug deeper into the case 5 years ago, inconsistencies began to emerge. A fisherman claimed he saw lights flickering inside the house late at night, long after Sarah and Jake were believed to have vanished. Another neighbor reported hearing raised voices, though whether it was an argument or simply animated conversation remains unclear. Then there was the matter of the car, left parked neatly in the driveway with keys still inside. If they'd planned to leave, why abandon it? And if they hadn't, where did they go? These questions gnawed at Ryan, Jake's best friend, who refused to accept the idea that his buddy would just vanish without saying goodbye. He retraced their steps obsessively, combing the shoreline and questioning anyone who might have seen them. Over time, his search grew more desperate, bordering on obsessive. He even hired private detectives, pouring every penny he had into finding answers. Yet, for all his efforts, nothing tangible came of it. Instead, he found himself staring at the ocean, feeling utterly powerless against its vast indifference. Meanwhile, Linda, Sarah's mother, coped in her own way. She turned her grief into action, organizing community searches and fundraisers to keep the case alive in public consciousness. Her home became a shrine of sorts, walls lined with photos of Sarah and Jake, newspaper clippings, and maps marked with potential leads. To outsiders, it looked like denial frozen in time. To Linda, it was hope, the only thing keeping her going. Every year on Sarah's birthday, she released biodegradable lanterns into the sky, watching as they drifted out of sight, carrying her prayers with them. This year, she wonders if the diver's discovery means her prayers are finally being answered, if they're about to be crushed completely. Back in Seabrook, tensions simmer beneath the surface. The town has never fully recovered from the shock of losing two of its brightest young residents. Small businesses suffered when tourists stopped coming, deterred by the cloud of mystery hanging over the area. Rumors circulated about cursed waters and bad omens feeding into local folklore. Even now, as news of the reef discovery spreads, old fears resurface. Parents warn their children to stay away from the shoreline after dark. Fishermen mutter prayers before casting their nets. Everyone knows the ocean gives and takes without explanation, but this time it feels personal. Amidst the chaos, new players enter the scene. A journalist named Claire arrives in town, drawn by the resurgence of interest in the case. She's no stranger to tragedy. Her career is built on uncovering hidden truths and giving voice to the forgotten. At first glance, she seems like just another outsider looking for a story, but something about her demeanor suggests otherwise. She spends hours interviewing locals, poring over police reports, and walking the same stretch of beach where Sarah and Jake were last seen. Her presence stirs unease among some residents who worry she exploit their pain for clicks and headlines. But others see her as a potential ally, someone willing to dig deeper than anyone else has dared. Claire's investigation leads her to unexpected places. She uncovers a series of anonymous letters sent to Sarah months before her disappearance, each one cryptic and vaguely threatening. The sender remains unknown, but handwriting analysis links them to someone familiar with the couple's inner circle. Could jealousy or resentment have played a role? Or was it something more sinister? As Claire pieces together the puzzle, she begins to suspect that Sarah and Jake weren't the only ones hiding secrets. Everyone around them seems to harbor guilt, regret, or fear, and none of them are eager to talk. The tension reaches a breaking point when authorities announce plans to re-examine the beach house. For years, it sat vacant, its windows boarded up and its doors locked tight. But now, forensic teams descend upon it, searching for anything overlooked in the initial sweep. Dust covers every surface, and the air smells faintly of salt and decay. Inside, they find traces of the couple's lives frozen in time, a half-finished crossword puzzle on the coffee table, a pair of sneakers abandoned by the door, a note scrawled hastily on a scrap of paper reading, *, meet me at the rocks. *, that note sends shockwaves through the investigation. What rocks? Where were they meeting, and why? The phrase sparks memories in those who knew Sarah and Jake well. There's a cluster of jagged boulders farther down the coast, accessible only by a narrow path carved into the cliffs. It's a treacherous spot, prone to sudden tides and slippery footing. Few venture there willingly, especially at night. Could that have been their destination? If so, what or who was waiting for them? As details trickle out, paranoia spreads. People start pointing fingers, accusing neighbors, friends, even family members of knowing more than they let on. Old grudges resurface, fueled by suspicion and desperation. In the midst of it all, Ryan finds himself at odds with Linda. Both want answers, but their methods clash. He pushes for aggressive action, demanding answers from anyone remotely connected. To the case, she pleads for patience, fearing that rushing will only muddy the waters further. Their arguments grow heated, straining the fragile bond they share as surrogate kin united by loss. Then comes the moment everyone's been dreading. Authorities confirm that the object found wedged in the reef bears Sarah's initials engraved. On its surface, it's a locator, tiny silver heart, containing a faded photo of her and Jake smiling together. How it ended up miles offshore remains a mystery, but its condition tells a story. Pitted and tarnished by years underwater, it looks as though it fought hard to stay hidden. Its discovery ignites a firestorm of speculation. Did Sarah throw it there herself? Was it placed deliberately as a marker? Or did the ocean claim it as part of some cruel game? With the locket in hand, investigators shift gears, focusing on reconstructing Sarah and Jake's final movements. They revisit witness statements, cross-reference timelines, and scour the coastline inch by inch. Divers explore the reef more thoroughly, uncovering additional items buried in the sand. Each new find brings fresh urgency, but also fresh frustration. Clues pile up, yet clarity remains elusive. The pieces don't fit together neatly, they overlap, contradict, and confuse. It's like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces, leaving gaping holes in the picture. As the town braces for answers, the pressure mounts. Claire publishes an article detailing her findings, sparking outrage and sympathy in equal measure. Social media explodes with reactions, turning the case into a national sensation once again. Tips pour in from across the country, some credible, others absurd. Law enforcement struggles to sift through the noise, chasing leads that lead nowhere. Meanwhile, Linda clings to the locket, tracing her fingers over the engraved letters as if willing them to speak. Ryan paces endlessly, unable to sit still, his mind racing with possibilities. And then, just when it seems the story can't get any more tangled, a shocking revelation emerges. One of the anonymous letter writers comes forward, former co-worker of Jake's with a grudge dating back years. His confession raises more questions than it answers, hinting at motives rooted in betrayal and revenge. Could he have acted alone, or was he part of something larger, something darker? As interrogations unfold, cracks begin to form in his story, suggesting he may not be telling the whole truth. The climax looms closer with each passing hour. Evidence mounts, theories evolve, and alliances fracture. Everyone involved feels the weight of impending resolution pressing down on them. Will the truth bring closure, shatter what little remains intact? The ocean holds its secrets tightly, reluctant to surrender them. As the investigation intensifies, the former co-worker's confession takes a darker turn. Under pressure, he admits to confronting Jake on the night of their disappearance, but swears it wasn't about revenge. It was about money. Jake had allegedly uncovered evidence of embezzlement at work, implicating not just this man, but several higher-ups in the company. The co-worker claims he went to the beach house to plead with Jake to stay quiet, offering hush money in exchange for his silence. But when Jake refused, tempers flared, and things spiraled out of control. What started as an argument ended with Jake storming off toward the rocks, leaving the co-worker shaken and alone. But here's where the story twists against Sarah. Wasn't with Jake during that confrontation. According to the co-worker, she'd already left the house earlier, saying she needed some air. When Jake followed her path later, he never returned. This revelation sends investigators scrambling to piece together Sarah's movements separately from Jake's. Was she trying to escape something or someone? And why did she leave without telling anyone? The breakthrough comes unexpectedly. Thanks to Claire's relentless digging, while reviewing old security footage from a nearby gas station, she spots a figure matching Sarah's description walking along the coastal road hours after Jake supposedly stormed off. She's carrying a backpack and seems distressed, glancing over her shoulder repeatedly as if being followed. The time stamp aligns perfectly with the co-worker's account, suggesting Sarah may have been running not just from the situation at the beach house, but possibly from danger itself. With this new lead, authorities focus their search efforts farther down the coast, near the jagged boulders mentioned in the cryptic note. Divers comb the area once more, this time uncovering a shocking discovery: a submerged cave hidden beneath the reef. Inside, they find remnants of clothing, a waterlogged journal, and most hauntingly a wedding ring engraved with Jake's name. It's clear now that both Sarah and Jake ended up here, though whether by choice or force remains unclear. The journal provides chilling clarity. Its pages are filled with frantic scribbles detailing their last hours together. From Sarah's entries, we learn the truth. After leaving the beach house, she encountered Jake at the rocks, where they argued about the blackmail attempt and the risks it posed to their future. Fearing for their safety, they decided to flee together, heading for the cave as a temporary hiding spot until they could figure out their next move. But the tide came in faster than expected, trapping them inside. Desperate, they tried to signal for help, even carving messages into the walls with sharp stones. Their final entry is heart-wrenching. Asterisk, if anyone finds this, please tell our families we loved them. Asterisk, the discovery brings both relief and devastation. For Linda and Ryan, knowing what happened offers a measure of closure, even as it confirms their worst fears. They finally understand that Sarah and Jake didn't abandon them, they fought to survive until the very end. The locket found in the reef begins to make sense to Sarah must have tossed it into the water as a last-ditch effort to leave a trail behind, hoping against hope that someone would find it. As the case wraps up, the town of Seabrook grapples with the aftermath. The co-worker faces charges for his role in the events leading to the couple's deaths, while the embezzlement scandal rocks the company Jake worked for. Claire publishes a follow-up article honoring Sarah and Jake's memory, highlighting not just their tragic end, but the love and resilience that defined their lives. Her words resonate deeply, reminding readers of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing those we hold dear. For Linda, the journey doesn't end with answers. She channels her grief into creating a foundation in Sarah's name, supporting couples facing financial or emotional struggles before marriage. Ryan dedicates himself to environmental conservation, inspired by Jake's passion for protecting nature. Together, they ensure that Sarah and Jake's legacy lives on not as victims of tragedy, but as symbols of hope and perseverance. In the years that follow, the beach house stands empty no longer. Renovated and reopened, it becomes a retreat for families navigating difficult times, offering them a chance to heal surrounded by the same breathtaking views Sarah and Jake once shared. Visitors often remark on the sense of peace there, as if the spirits of those who loved it still linger, watching over newcomers with quiet affection. And so, the story of Sarah and Jake comes full circle, not with anger or despair, but with understanding and remembrance. Their disappearance may have begun as a mystery, but it ends as a testament to love, loss, and the enduring power of human connection. As the waves crash against the shore and the wind whispers through the cliffs, one thing is certain: Sarah and Jake will never be forgotten. Their story reminds us all to hold tight to the people we love, to face challenges together, and to leave behind a legacy that inspires others to do the same.